Yes, I was sleeping until now. Hi, welcome. You can see me. Now you can. With chapter 9, the next milestone right there. Hi. I should probably move this, and my hair is a mess, just like usually. You always wake up before alarm. That's good for you, because I usually wake up after my 4th or 5th alarm. And oh, I just noticed that we have a picture right here. Can I open this? Yep, you added the picture. Nice, very nice. Cover done by talented Dark Warwick. Link to his film site there. We might need to check that later on. Let's move this here so I can see. Let's move back here. Are you ready for some reading? Because I am not. Can you hear me? That is the other question. Yep, Dice did that. That means, yep, you can hear me as well. Let me see if I can still see through my eyes. Let's make sure of that. It's not too dark in here, is it? No, it's not. Okay. Yapas? I just drank my coffee. I have nothing right now. It's empty. But this chapter 9 was shorter a little bit, and I can grab something at this point, so that's fine. As you can hear in the background, I'm mixing up a little bit, and we have a little bit of different music. I'm gonna download this later on, but these are from YouTube right now, and this is Ghost Trick OST. All of them will be. I don't know if it's gonna fit or not, but that's what we are gonna do. So let's start reading. Skydancer, the first flying unicorn. Chapter 9, the next milestone. Featherwind and Starbeast both decided to take a break from his storytelling for a good several hours. They flew around in the sky and talked about all sorts of other things, mostly personal life, business, and for once, it was Starbeast doing the most of the storytelling. She talked about things she eventually wanted to do in life, and some boys she had to crush on. Oh yes, she is in that age. One problem she had in her life when it came to One problem she had in her life when it came to socialization stemmed from her parents frequently roaming her out. They literally lived on an airship that flew back and forth all across the Cassia, which delivered both cargo and passengers. Sometimes her father would be hired to take care of weather problems. A common example was winter wrap-up in several towns and cities. A little bit of throwback to the original story. When Featherwind was hired for such tasks, he often took care in a matter of few short hours. Sometimes it was too fast considering certain things like animal life waking up in the area, so the effort needed to be adjusted in some cases. Of course, there was Stormwing doing her own thing too. Her multiple jobs didn't always keep her with her family. Sometimes she was contractually obligated to fly off on her own to take care of business. Sometimes she would be gone for weeks at a time, and sometimes it was Feather being gone for almost as long. At times, when neither parent could take care of her, Starbreeze was left in the hooves of many potential friends and family members. They were not friends, only potentially. While this frequent travel strained Starbreeze's relationships with any pony other than her parents, she admitted that she enjoyed traveling. In just a few short years of her life, she saw many kinds of terrain, cultures, towns, cities, and creatures. She felt privileged. She befriended a few that were temporary passengers on their airship. Sometimes she still wrote them letters, and over the years she gained a growing complex network of various friends, with whom she wrote letters back and forth. She is a spy master now. Starbreeze grew rather adept at long-distance relationships due to many years of practice. It required a lot of patience to wait for those letters to be delivered back and forth, but it gave her a reason to wake up excited every morning. It reminds me of Pinkie Pie when Rainbow Dash went to the academy. Oh, did Rainbow Dash write? No. Oh, did she write now? As the process continued, then some of them started writing to each other. Starbreeze felt like she was the bridge that filled the gap between many ponies from distant areas across Equestria. Yup, she's a spy master. I knew it. Her friendship gave them the incentive to think beyond their local homes. Due to frequent contact, some of the main carriers themselves became Starbreeze's friends, not the least of which included Duncan too. I was just about to say, what about Duncan too? For various reasons, Starbreeze enjoyed frequent mailing discounts, but even with that, the mail delivery service still made a lot of money off her. Well, they have money because they are working quite an important job, let's just say it like that. As for how Starbreeze gained her money, she earned it by allowance from her parents, tips from passengers in exchange for odd jobs, and sometimes she delivered letters herself, since her home was traveling back and forth across Equestria anyway. When she was in the neighborhood, she allowed to deliver letters herself, including her own letters sometimes. It was just another excuse for her to see her friends. She heard many stories from some of those passengers or other places that she visited. Starbreeze wasn't just friends with ponies from her own age group. Being as young as she was, her friends were more often older ponies, sometimes even very elderly ponies. In general, it was the elder ponies that had the most stories to tell, and Starbreeze was usually endlessly fascinated by them. Yeah, as I said in some of the episodes, especially one of the newest ones, that I love to hear other people tell stories. If it's not just repeating the same thing over and over again, because that's happening as well sometimes, but when you hear it the first time, it is super fascinating. I understand my life has some drawbacks compared to others. Oh, that's already her. I understand my life has some drawbacks compared to others, Starbreeze said after a sip of water from the pond near the waterfall. But what I've gained in return cannot be measured. I want you to know that just in case you have any doubt about it, I love my life, Father, and I have both you and my mother to thank you for it. Regardless of any hardship you tell me about for now and the rest of your story, know that I personally consider it all worth it. I am indeed benefiting from the hardships you endured before, and it's wonderful. Featherwind sat down next to the pond as he said, I am very pleased to hear that. I love you, Starbreeze, and I love to see you happy. I also know your life isn't perfect, but I've traveled about long enough to know that nobody else has perfect life either, even Celestia. Actually, she's got a whole host of problems to deal with. In fact, she can barely see straight at the end of the day due to fatigue. She tries to hide it under a brave smile, but I know by now that burdens of immortality or having so many ponies look up to you for guidance. How do you know the burdens of immortality? Are you immortal, Featherwing? No. Have you ever met the princess in person? Starby's question. Featherwing looked at her strangely. Of course I have. On many occasions, actually. I met her right in front of you a couple of times. He looked kind of eyes up. But I suppose you were pretty young back then. I guess it doesn't surprise me that you would not remember, now that I think about it. That is strange, because some ponies actually remember way longer than other ponies. Especially us ponies can remember well of their young ages. But she's a Pegasus. They always just flew with the wind. Their memories flew away as well. Starby stood on it, the record with a bit of distant look. She's the one with the rainbow flowing mane, correct? I thought everybody knew that. I was about to say that as well. But I mean, figured as he looked back at his daughter. That said, not everybody has seen it in person like you have. Starby closed her eyes slowly as she thought back. I barely recall a moment when I saw her standing on a balcony, shortly after she raised the sun. I was hiding somewhere, observing her. I think I just wanted to watch her raise the sun just once. I believe she had golden aura on her very tall horn. She has a tall horn or a long horn? You don't know. It was beautiful. Let's move this. It was beautiful, but after that, I continued to sit there and observe her while she floated a brush to her mane and stroked to it several times as she hummed to herself. Her voice was lovely, and I recall being enchanted. She was cleaning her oar? Or rubbing it? I must say, the brush didn't seem to have any effect. Her mane didn't look any straighter with each brush stroke. Oh, to her mane, it was not her horn. Me and my stupid imagination. For some reason, I thought that he floated a brush, not a brush, to her horn. Even though it's here that it's a brush to her mane. Yeah, that would be different, wouldn't it? Yeah, a brush. Her mane didn't look any straighter with each brush stroke, it just continued to flow. I think it was more of ritual of hers. No, if you have long hair you have to brush it from time to time so it's not get tangled up. It's just that easy. That's all that's needed, I suppose. Featherwing's very good. Sometimes the rituals we do keep us to prepare for our day. I'm sure it's relaxing for her. It's kind of like meditation is for me. And what? At one time I think she spotted me. Got to fly down for that phone. As a matter of fact, I'm almost certain. She froze in mid-stroke and her humming stopped. One of her eyes, the left side I think, looked right at me. The other side was covered by her flowing mane. At first she looked startled, so I felt startled too. I wanted to fly away, but for some reason I just froze. After a few seconds, her wide-eyed startled expression relaxed, and she even seemed amused to notice me. She continued to stare at me for several more seconds, as she resumed brushing her mane and hummed softly out into the wind. Part of me felt embarrassed to be caught like that, but another part of me melted with pleasure. That song was so soothing. Featherwing smiled warmly. That's nice to hear. You shared a nice, special moment with the princess. As much pleasure as you felt, I think she felt the same on some level. You probably cheered her up too, even if it was a bit intrusive on her privacy, but I think she knew you meant no harm, that you were only curious. Chameleon horse. Well, at least at this point she said that her other eye was being covered by her main, that's why she didn't see it. So both of her eyes was looking at her. She just thinks that because she can control both of her eyes separately, just like his father does. Every pony else can do it, but no. She just thinks that. They are the only chameleons here. Well, anyway, Starbreeze gave a side glance to her father. Get on with your story. I don't want to be your age by the time you finish. Part of me thinks this story is just starting to get good. Starting to? Father Wind reflected question on me. Well, I already knew from the beginning that you were going to fly someday. You have been doing it all my life. That's no shock to me. I also knew about your cloak. That's no surprise to me either. You're wearing it right now. Beyond this point, however, I sense I have considerably fewer spoilers, so for me, that's what it makes this phrase more exciting. At this point, all I can tell you is that I eventually get born, you marry my mother at some point, and you join and I leave the Wonder Pose for some reason. You acquire the gem that you wear on your neck practically all the time. Starbreeze rolled her eyes with that announcement. We get our own airship, and the rest we all know. So how about you get on with the parts I don't know? Very well then. Father Wind indulged. It's a really nice setting right here. That they actually stopped through the story. It's not just the story all the time. We remember that this is still just a story of the past. It's really nice. And this might be a little bit of important side that Celestia saw her. We will see later. But let's continue. There you go. I think I can safely say the next major milestone of my life happened about 4 years after I got my cutie mark. I'll go over the gist of most of the important things that happened during that time. Flight training continued, of course, for about 3.5 years, but after that, Skylancer grew too busy with the Wonder Boss to devote more time to your mom and me. The principal reason for that he finally became a full-fledged Wonderbolt. I had seen a bunch of their shows in the interim, so I had a basis of comparison between them and the Skylancer I knew. Deep down, he was going to make it into the boards. No, I'm fine for now. It's kind of difficult to explain why I knew that. He was very good. I saw that first hoof, but I've always seen the rest of the boards in various shows. They were very good too. It was hard to tell you what separates him from them. The only thing I could say was the fact that we both had such an innate connection to the sky. We both felt like it was part of us. That might have been true for the rest of the boards as well, but I couldn't say the same about the rest of the recruits or reserves. Skydancer had something that some of the other reservists lacked, and the only word I could think of was spirit, an innate connection to the sky. It was an instinct, you could say, but I just knew he would make it into the boards, and he is the reason why I can rightly claim that you do indeed have a family relative in the boards. In this case, your mother's side of the family. I almost made it myself, but I dropped out, and get more into that later. After Skylancer grew too busy for us, we figured I had already learned enough from him to continue my own practices. I remember sitting with him on top of a cloud one day as we both watched the sunset together. Most of us spoke very few words to each other. It felt like we didn't need to. We just understood each other in some innate level. We barely even glanced at each other. We just stared into the sunset, each of us knowing the things we were going to change after that day, but for some reason deep down, it didn't feel like a goodbye. I almost believed we had a connection so deep that neither of us feared separation. In such a case, we would continue to feel each other from a distance. Oh god. Oh no. That sounds wrong. We continue to feel each other from a distance. My bad imagination. As unlikely it may sound, I hope you find some pony that you can bond with such a deep level. It really is quite a comfort. Skylancer. I don't know why I chose that name for my first fictional poem. I guess something about it called to me when I wrote it. Maybe I heard it in the wind. I could imagine it said, at least on a subconscious level, his name is Skylancer and he too is one of us. As for me, I continued my studies, of course. I actually got pretty good at it over the years. I crammed all kinds of scholastic knowledge up in my head, which I rarely found useful in real life. Just like we do in school. Hashtag algebra. Of course, my true passion had always been flying. In the later years of my flight training, Skylancer backed off more and more as we seemed to have a good hoofle on our situation, but as time Okay, you need to fix this. You mean as time went on, right? There you go. So you can just see it. There were some consequences to becoming too good at my art. For you see, in that time, your mother had yet to unlock her own Kutima. It wasn't for lack of trying either, but I suppose you could claim her attempts did not have a lot of variance to it. I guess she was so caught up in flying and her dream of being a wonderbird someday that she kept on at it long past the time it became relatively clear this was not her destiny. I think she eventually realized she would never be able to keep up with me, and I have to tell you she was a really strong flyer. I was pretty sure her wing flaps could cause enough wind to knock all over a small building if she wanted to. She could even stop me from flying because my magic was weaker than her wing flaps. She was hale and healthy. Hale? That's a new word. Let me check it. I'm pretty sure that's a word, but I never heard it. So you actually say she was healthy and healthy? Because hale is actually healthy as well. These two words are the same. Perhaps she was a bit lacking in the maneuverability of the department due to her size, but that's why we practiced. Some people say it that way. Okay, I don't know about that, so that's fine. I was just confused a little bit. But I get what he wants to say, so it's fine. But as time went on, it became clear to her. I think the difference between one of them is bodily healthy, the other is probably otherwise healthy, like mentally healthy, I don't know. But as time went on, it became clear to her that there was no way she could keep up with me. Not when it came to flying. If some pony like her could not keep up, one of the strongest and healthiest horses out there, then I think she had to give up on the boats as well. I don't really know when it happened that she never told me. Maybe it was something she didn't know either. It was probably something that she gradually realized over time. She had a different attitude about it at the beginning compared to the end. In the beginning, there was a sense of excitement in her eyes, a sense that she was taking the necessary steps to one day achieve her dream. Back then, she was filled with foolish wonder, and it made her spirit light and soar. Over the time, however, I saw a gradual shift in her eyes. At first, it looked depressed, then it shifted to some kind of bittersweet acceptance. Your mother continued to fly with me as best as she could. By then, I think the purpose changed. No longer was she really trying to keep up with me in order to get into the boats, she flew with me just to be with me, I think. She flew with me so we could both do something together, something she knew both truly enjoyed. This set actually really reminds me of Sonic. If you know what happened in Sonic, the true story, then you know what I'm talking about. I pretended not to notice this change in her eyes, but I was definitely one to pay close attention to her reactions. I didn't say anything, because I didn't want to rub it in. Deep down, we both knew the truth about our situation. It didn't need to be said. For the longest time, I expected jealous rage from her, but what I saw instead was tender affection, tinged with a bit of regret. She loved me, I could tell, but we also both saw diverging paths between us. No matter how much you love some pony, they don't always necessarily share your destiny. She had one of her own, but I felt like I was holding her back somehow. She stayed with me longer than she should have, because she simply wanted to stay. I think she didn't care about her destiny as much as most other ponies would. First, it was the Wonderbots, then it was me. She kept finding new excuses to delay her true destiny. Well, knowing her cutie mark, which we didn't know yet, shouldn't know yet, I have a feeling I know how she's gonna get it. But that's gonna be later. But the star was almost objected. One come look at her from her father, however still set her tongue. What she knew about her mother and what her father was telling her now seemed at odds. But then it occurred to her that it would probably explain later on, so she bade quietly. Continue. We were both growing up, and already she was far older than most other ponies would be, and still loved her cutie mark. I never saw her complain about it. That came more from her peers instead. I remember how others sometimes ask her, "Are you really even trying?" Or, Do you care about finding your true talent or destiny? You don't need to try to find it. It just comes to you. If it's destiny, you don't have to search for it. It will find you eventually. She kept assuring them she was fine, and I kind of think she meant it. She had something in the meantime that made her content in delaying pursuit of her true self. Since we married each other later on, you could also argue that she was in fact pursuing her true destiny. Just another side of it is all, and deep down, I think she sensed what she was really meant to do. I saw examples, glimmers of it many times over the years. Then one day, everything changed between us. I remember how it started to. We are on this halfway point. Then one day everything changed between us. That's it's gonna be a little bit strange. This could mean different things. They could become enemies, or they could become lovers instead of friends. But I'll be ready to continue. Let's find another thing because it's a new session. Yeah, that should be fine. Featherwind flew to a stop, hovering in midair. As he did so, his body glowed with silver energy, using his telekinesis to keep himself suspended like that. Wow. For him, that was the best option, to hover in place. What's up? Starming asked curiously as she flew up to her friend, then flapped to hover in place. The winds have changed. Featherwind announced as he looked about in searching mystified way. Well, of course they have. You've been controlling them all day, Starming pointed out. No, it's not that, it's something else. Oh, did they get to the same point where he was before, where he felt the dark winds? Featherwind closed his eyes, paused and listened. He felt the winds shift, and it communicated to him a minor form of danger. A storm, he eventually said, as he opened his eyes again. A storm is coming. Really? Starming asked and looked around. She eventually spotted something that helped to confirm that theory. She saw a pink flying Pegasus pushing a dark cloud away. Then she said, "Stay here, I'm going to ask her something." They are 4 years older. Huh. Starming curved a bit down and zoomed away towards the other Pegasus, who was at a lower altitude, initially by steadily climbing up. While Starming flew away, Featherwind channeled another ability he started to master over the last few years. The ability to hear conversation at a great distance. He is gonna be a superhero. There was a delay, and the greater the distance, the greater the delay, but he heard voices in the wind. The voices did not belong to the wind itself. Instead, it was the voices of others carried by the wind. This technique was not perfected yet. Some voices were too quiet to hear. Other voices came in louder, especially if they sang. Featherwind did not catch all of the conversation, but enough to get the gist of it. The pink Pegasus was actually quite startled to find another Pegasus flying in this airspace. She thought every pony had been warned already. The dark cloud she was carrying was to join the set of others. Together, it would create a storm. A scheduled storm. How did I miss that? Featherwind won that to himself. The way this Pink Pegasus was talking, the warning about the storm should have been obvious by now. In that case, how did we miss it every single time until now? Surely we haven't been that busy in the sky, have we? Featherwind looked towards the sun and was surprised how far it had advanced in the sky. In fact, it was nearly sunset. Huh, wow, I guess we have been busy today. Stormwing flew back up to a friend in alarm and announced upon her arrival. You're right. Oh, Sterling. You're right. There's a storm coming soon. Indeed, a little too soon to remain safe and fly up here. There isn't any shelter for several miles as well, and if we don't land soon, we're caught up in the sky, in the storm, unless we can hold it back. And you shouldn't mess with it because it is a scheduled storm. Perhaps for a moment, but that would require constant concentration, Featherwind reported to his friend. If I don't remove the source of the storm, then struggling against it would be a never-ending battle. That would be like swimming against a river current. In that case, follow me. The one that I spoke with Puffy Cloud Mix. That's what you called Cloud. Said that she saw a cave somewhere nearby that we can take shelter in until the storm passes. The thing is, I think I spotted it as well, so I might be able to find it again. Let's not tarry then, Featherwind agreed, with a bit of urgency in his voice. Lead on, my friend. This way. They are still friends at this point. Oh. When they get stuck in a cave together. Probably the cave entrance is gonna hold up and they have no chance of escape. Storming dove down. Storming dove down. Featherwind followed her, seizing the glow as he proceeded. The winds around him suddenly shut down. He spread his mist cloak to catch it. You do realize, of course, that we'll be stuck in there all night tonight? Stormwing shouted at her over her left shoulder in an attempt to be loud enough to be heard by they do. Featherwind did not say anything. He just remained focused. Even if he blew a little wind out of himself to accelerate her pace, he eased off of that as they neared the ground. Wow, I can't speak today. He eased off. I hate when there are two offs. It messes me up all the time. He eased off of that as they neared the ground. She probably had to search the area for a bit before either of them found it. Fortunately for them, it only took them a few minutes, but even during that time, the storm winds started to pick up. Featherwind concentrated to bring up the resisting force wind. Resisting force wind against the storm winds. Force wind. Resisting force wind. That's something I would never put these together unless we are in a Star Wars universe. For now, he succeeded, but he knew the test was only going to get more difficult as time went on. But they found the cave before it got too difficult. Stormwing was the first to land in front of the cave, and she had her leg back to Featherwind to indicate he should stay back for a bit. Stay back. I'm going to investigate this first and make sure the coast is clear. This cave is large enough to be a bear cave after all. Proceed. Featherwind bade. Then occurred to him that he should help light her path. He closed his eyes, concentrated on a spell, At first the light was ignited around his horn, but then the light hovered off his horn and proceeded to float into the cave. And then woke all the bats inside. Sterling did not expect that, but accepted it quickly. She waited for the light to enter first, then peered into the cave from around the corner carefully. She looked left, she looked right. The coast seemed clear so far. The light Featherwind created continued to float further into the cave. She waited until she could see through every shadowy corner before finally moving about and into the cave to take a closer look. Sterling remained in silence for several minutes before calling back. "Okay, the coast is clear, you can come in now." It's funny how she is the one checking for the coast to clear. It's usually the male who does that. But I guess it makes sense because she is better built. Let's just say it like that, even though she is female. While Featherwind waited, she proclaimed himself with a force barrier, even while also maintaining concentration on the floating light with the cave. The barrier would have been invisible if it weren't for the rain. Each drop helped to highlight the limits of the barrier, and as the rain came down harder and harder, the barrier became more and more visible, even starting to glow a bit. The tone changed when Featherwind entered the cave. At this point, his horn dimmed, somewhat as the concentration on the energy barrier ceased, but he still maintained the floating light up. "Come here," Sterling bade. "I think I found the most comfortable spot." Featherwind obeyed. Joining by her side, he eventually settled down and rested beside her. Sterling also settled down next to her friend. She had quite a bit bulk next to Featherwind. Not fat in most of respects, simply bigger. And that means she had more blood and warmth passing through her system. Featherwind, in contrast, was shivering. He may have successfully defended himself from the rainstorm, it was still cold in the cave nonetheless. The chilly stormy air did little to help alleviate the situation. Then use fire magic. Duh! To help rectify this, Featherwind shot a constant beam of energy into the stone a few feet away from them for 4 straight seconds. The magical laser, which emitted from the top of his horn, hit the stone in seconds and also caused to emit a warm glow. With that done, he rubbed his hooves together, then held it out towards the warmth of the glowing stone. Well, that works as well. Sterling by his side, wrapped her right wing around her friend and pulled him closer. Sharing body heat, she figured it would also wrap them into this cold and stormy night. Featherwind physically shivered for several more minutes, but inwardly he felt an intense glow from his own emotions. This proximity to his friend intoxicated him, especially with the scent of her that filled his nostrils, which was entranced by a wet mane. I guess they were in heat. Ah, so romantic, Stubby said in a gushy way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Quill. Maybe this is gonna be that turning point. It was. You have so little idea how warm a firestone can feel. Or how comforting a loved one's body heat can feel when next to a cold storm raging outside, just outside your reach. It's like seeing a light in the darkness. The contrast makes it stand out all the more. It made that moment feel all the cozier while next to each other. As time went on, I felt I could no longer restrain my emotions. Featherwind turned to look at Sterling's face. for 12 long seconds before suddenly and probably unexpectedly kissed her. Yep, they are in heat. Sure enough, she did look taken aback in surprise. Then Queer contacted Cuties. Oh. No. But I noticed she was not horrified or disappointed. She was just shocked was all but at the moment settled. I saw her cheeks bottom of her eyes glow with emotion. Clearly there was an embarrassment, but something else as well. Something not easy for her to admit, because she was more accustomed to restraining her emotions. Beneath that, however, there was love. Your mother had always been such a tomboy. She could tackle other boys with the best of them, and trust me, I will elaborate more on that in my next story, but for now, I want to see how masculine she usually acted. Your mother is very strong and assertive, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that was just a mask. In no way did she ever pretend to be strong. Instead, she actually was, and still is, that strong, but I also suspected it wasn't the whole truth. I've studied her very intently over the years, and similar to Skylancer, I think I've grown to understand her on a deeper and more spiritual level. There was something more to her too, something she usually afraid to reveal to anybody else, a soft and deeply feminine side that I always suspected was there and desperately wanted to be seen. I'm a girl too, Paka. Throughout all these years, you see, I never forgot one very important thing. No matter how she acted, no matter how tough she seemed on the other side. Through it all, I never once forgot the fact that she was a girl, and I loved her for it. I craved to see more of it. That's probably why I acted on that emotion and kissed her for the very first time. As she continued sitting there, reeling from shock and glowing crimson with embarrassment and love, I contemplated the irony of the situation. Usually, I was the soft and timid one, but in the moment when I finally showed bold initiative, that just happened to be that moment when that revealed her own soft and feminine side. It made me wonder if we would always remain on opposite ends of the spectrum in that regard, even if we temporarily switched sides. Maybe by being bored, it was the only way to bring out her other self. As I said before, in no way did she ever pretend to be strong, but that other side of herself was left rejected and starving. I think she needed to bring it out for far more than she would have admitted herself. Her personality made her a natural protector, so it felt strange and uncomfortable for her to reveal her own vulnerable side. Usually, her first instinct would be to hide it as soon as possible. The only possible exception was to be with some pony she trusted to the very deepest level of her being. Only with such pony did she feel it was safe enough to reveal her fullest self. And I knew deep down she would feel infinitely grateful for that. And just for a second. And drank some water. It's not too much better, but we are nearly the end. Finally, some pony who truly knew her and accepted her for every fiber of her being. Finally, some pony she knew for sure would not judge her, just accept her and enjoy her company, whatever she might be. That brief moment of assertiveness on my part also revealed something else to her as well. The reason she felt safer to be her fuller self with me was because I proved to her that I could be strong too when I needed to be. The only time she could feel safe enough to reveal her vulnerable side was in privacy with the one she totally trusted, and some pony who proved to her that pony could protect her too. In that way, we covered each other exactly the way we needed to. In every possible way that mattered, we were a perfect fit for each other. Even our flaws signaled that. Finally, she nuzzled close against me, rubbing her face against mine. I could practically still smell her embarrassment, but she was starting to relax about it. I knew at a point she crossed over a barrier in her heart she could never cross back. From that point on, our relationship reached the next milestone. From that point on, we were far more than mere friends, and no matter what, we would always protect and be there for each other, come what may. I will always protect you, Stammin said, with her voice glowing with emotion, which included, amongst other things, a very deep sincerity. In hindsight, I very much doubt she fully realized on that day how difficult keeping that promise would be someday. But through it all, she always kept her word. Always. And that's how she got her kitty mark. By protecting her love. Right, Quill? And that is the end of chapter 9. An important chapter, I should say. Especially because it's one of the turning points. Because without this chapter, nothing would have happened. You will see. No spoilers! But yeah, I like it. Even though sadly tomorrow I won't be able to come here, and tomorrow and after tomorrow either. Because tomorrow we will be celebrating my mother's birthday, and after tomorrow I will go to my sister's home and we will have a dinner and something. So but it be our thing. It is a really important chapter, as I said. It is basically the starting point of the romance. And for some reason you said that when I voice Cloud, Buffy Cloud mix, I should make sure that they are 4 years older. So I guess she's gonna be in the next chapter, because she didn't speak anything. Well, she spoke, but we didn't hear what she spoke about it. Or maybe you changed it? Oh no, you're breaking quarantine. There is no quarantine here. Luckily, there is only limitation, but not full limit. In Hungary, luckily we have the essential. You can go out, but just to get essentials. You can visit your family and stuff. Obviously, try not to go out to older people, but it's fine. Oh, you meant voices for Valuing and Storming. Yeah, I didn't. I kind of forgot that in the beginning, but then yeah, I realized that it is much older, because Skydancer is already in the Wonderbots. Not just as a reservist, but he actually became one. So yeah, it makes sense that it actually didn't say that they are 4 years. Does it say anywhere that 4 years have passed by? Or did you just say it? There's a storytelling. Yeah, you said it. Okay, about 4 years later. About Starbury's life, yeah, she is actually just traveling around. She likes it, and she she is a spy master. She has friends all over the world, and she can gather as many information as she can. I found it. Don't worry, I found it already. But yeah, there is a delay of YouTube, so I can't do anything about that. But still, the other chapter, was it chapter 7 or 3? I don't know. One of the chapters is still my favorite. It's not this one. It is a really important chapter, as I said. And it is up there. It is a good chapter. Especially because of the... How do we say it? The obvious... We are going into the cave, we can't get out, we are together, we will definitely kiss. I don't know if we are gonna stuck here, if the cave entrance is gonna close in, and we have to fight to get out, or not. But we are together, we have to get close, and we will probably kiss. Yep, then chapter 7 it is. It's still my favorite. I just forgot which chapter it was. But this is really good as well. But again, this session right here, this paragraph, that they were already in love with each other. They didn't know about that. Well, they kind of knew, they both knew, but when time flies by without you noticing, that's a big starting point, that you are into each other too much. Yeah, this chapter is short and sweet. Compromise. Chapter called Compromise. Yep. And this is, yep, the title actually said everything. This is a milestone of his life, of Featherwind's life. And I like it how still Skydancer, the first flying unicorn. So when the next reading? Let me see. So tomorrow I won't be able to do that because I'm gonna celebrate my mother's birthday. On Sunday I will go out with my sister. So on Monday, I guess. Yeah, Monday it is. If it's okay with you. Well, Monday for me. I don't know if it's earlier for you. But I will put out the notification tomorrow. So basically it's 3 days from now on. if that's okay with you. Yeah, probably will. I have to get the bucket ready. Sorry. But yeah, thank you for watching. I don't know if Dice has anything to say about it. I'm gonna wait a little bit about that, because Dice is here as well. He can say things about it. We still fixed one of the points, so it's all fine. Also, I'm gonna check while we are waiting chapter 10. No, have fun. Okay, chapter 10 is gonna be a bit longer, and probably gonna be a poem in there. What did I think about the new cover art? It's really good. Obviously I have seen it before, because Dice Fabric sent it to me on Discord before you put it here. I saw it. I can bring it up so you can see it better. For the ones who are not here, you can see it better like this. Let's zoom it out. There we go, that's the colored version. It's really good. It's hand drawn, as you can see from the lines, from the pencil lines. It is visible. Wait, is it pencil? Wait, Dice, is it pencil or is it pen? Is it colored pen or is it just pencil? I'm sure I can see the line is ink, that's for sure. The lines are ink. But I'm not sure about the colors. Colored pen. Okay. Both. Really? First pencil, then pen. Yeah, I saw the pencil art was the first thing that you drew. Then inked the lines in. I just didn't know what the colors were, basically. But yeah, again, 3 days from now on, I'm gonna get to chapter 10, and we are gonna continue it. And yeah, also tomorrow I will put. Wait, let me check if I'm sure about that. I need to get to my studio. I will definitely put out something. I already posted chapter or episode 10 of My Pony. I just need to check if they check the copyright claim or not. No, this dispute is still under review. So there's probably still gonna be a video up tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna be episode 10 of season 8 of My Pony, or is it gonna be episode 3? We will see. So even though I will not be here live streaming, I will still have some videos put out during those 2 days. But yeah, I'm leaving now. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time.